There's three things coming down the pipeline which are as scary as anything I've ever seen happen. Two of them we can still stop. It's not too late. But the third one has already started, and all we can do is batten down the hatches and prepare for the storms. Without wasting any more time, let's get into today's video. When Mike Rowe starts raising the alarm bell, I start listening. Here, watch this for yourself.
It's the cookie cutter advice that's killing us. The idea that the best way to work involves an employer, a 40-hour work week, a union, perhaps. And I always love the freelancing option.
This is not happening in the third world. This is happening right here.
These people need to understand that the rug is about to be yanked out from under them.
More than 70 million Americans work as independent contractors. If the Proact becomes federal law, everything you love about independent status ceases to exist. There are real people who are impacted by this.
My wife got a really bad case of bronchitis. If I'm an employee driver and I decide I'm going to stay home for a week and take care of my wife, my employer's going to say, Tom, I can't leave that truck sitting still for a week. They'll probably fire me. As an independent contractor, I can just tell dispatch, I'm going to be gone for a week. I'll let you know when I'm ready to go again.
That's the flexibility we talked about before, but it vanishes in every state if it gets caught up in the slipstream of the Proact.
Okay, so this already has been implemented in California, and if you're not familiar with the Proact is, I did some research on Mike's channel. I watched, this is the first time I seen it was on Instagram, but he's got a full YouTube video on it, and I recommend you go checking it out. But here's what he says. Of all the really bad ideas moldering before Congress, the Proact has got to be among the most odious. Mike's got a big vocabulary. If it passes, no less than 70 million independent contractors across the country will lose their independent status. Tens of thousands of truck drivers, graphic artists, dance instructors, cameramen, speech therapists, real estate agents, skilled tradespeople, you and me, and countless other Americans who would prefer not to labor as a traditional employee will be forced to do so or find a new line of work. This is being implemented down and being forced down our throats and reinforced by the unions. You can go to Mike Rowe's YouTube channel. You can look this up. You can Google this on your own, but the Proact has got to be stopped. That means independent contractors like you and I will be forced to become employees. We will have no other option. But this is not the most dangerous and insidious thing, oh, I just said a big word, that is coming down the pipeline. All right, so let's go to Mike's YouTube channel and hear a little bit more about this. This is where stuff gets deep.
Seems like a well-intended idea, but what are the unintended consequences? And who's really behind it?
The folks who backed AB 5, particularly the Teamsters Union, what they really wanted was a one-size-fits-all kind of situation where all these freelance people were herded out of their independent little shops, if you will, and into large employers where they would be more easily organizing targets for unions. That's their whole goal in this thing.
Again, I'm not looking for trouble with the unions, but thousands of freelancers have already lost the right to work the way they want to work in California. If this thing goes national, we're talking about millions of freelancers no longer free.
So if I live in, Texas or Tennessee or Michigan, Wisconsin, you name it, if I live anywhere else in the U.S. and I look at this, I would be very afraid.
And people are afraid. Every day, more and more of those 70 million independent contractors are beginning to realize exactly what's at stake and the importance of pushing back.
If the Proact becomes federal law, which President Biden has said he would sign this into law if Congress passed it, everything you love about independent status ceases to exist, and basically two things could happen. Your job entirely disappears because a business simply cannot afford to bring you on as a full-time employee with wages, benefits, etc. So they cease to hire you, or they hire you and the flexibility, the freedom, the entrepreneurial opportunity that you liked to work for different people, to set your own schedule, set your own wage rates, completely disappears and you become an employee, a cog in the wheel.
What do you guys think about the Proact? I know some of you guys are going to be for it, and that's fine. I'm going to respect your opinion. But as a guy that grew up as an independent, that person that didn't want to be under somebody else's thumb, this is, to me, an absolute stripping of my freedom, of my rights to choose. As a small business owner, I could see where this can absolutely be a hardship. I think it's going to crush middle America personally. But there's something else. coming down the pipeline that I think could be almost as devastating as this. So let's get into the next segment right now. Now, I was reading through a news organization on Instagram called Mindset of Potential, and this article caught my eye. Bernie Sanders flips out when pressed on a 4-day work week proposal.
Our work week, it seems like Fox Business, it seems like Democrats want businesses to be taxed more, pay their workers.
Really? Is that what you think?
pay their workers.
Excuse me.
I didn't get to ask a question.
Okay, thank you.
Senator.
Hold it. Okay.
You get old, you get
We held the
codgerty.
hearing on a 32-hour work week because what we have seen is that over the last 50 years, despite a huge increase in worker productivity, almost all of the wealth has gone to the top 1%, while 60% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. Many of our people are exhausted. We work the longest hours of any people in the industrialized world. I think it's time for a short work week.
Let me ask you a question about
so.
that. It seems like Democrats want businesses to be taxed more,
Really?
pay their workers more, lower prices, and now pay people not to work.
You know what I would like to see?
How are businesses going to survive that? Can I talk to you about the 32-hour work week? That's the question. How can businesses survive all of those proposals?
When Mr. Bezos pays an effective tax rate lower than the average worker, I think we have a real problem in our tax system. I think that billionaires have got to stop paying their fair share of taxes.
I'm going to jump in here because here's my 2 cents on this thing. It sounds to me like Bernie Sanders has a personal vendetta against Jeff Bezos, which is fine. You know, if he wants to go after a multi-billionaire that employs tens of thousands of people in the United States, he's free to do so. But Bernie, why don't you create a system that employs tens of thousands of people, that puts food on the table, that allows people the ability to put a roof over their heads? You know what, Bernie? If you really want to help the small and middle class guys out, eliminate the payroll tax altogether. Just get rid of it. Guys like me, guys like you watching this video, these are the guys that are giving a third of their time to Uncle Sam to blow as they need. Get freaking rid of it. I almost want to run as president just so I can eliminate payroll tax 100%. That'd be the first thing that would go. Boom, gone. It's not happening. And you know how I would make up for that? I would cut 50% of the government. Just boom, get rid of it. We don't need it. It's not required. It's an extra expense. And I would raise the sales tax, raise it to maybe 9%, 10%. Make it a little bit, make it hurt a little bit more when you want to go ahead and buy your security system or you want to put a fancy poster on your wall. We're willing to do that because that is a decision. That's free will. If we want to buy the fancy poster or security system, we know that we're going to get hit with a little bit extra sales tax. Do we want to do that? But by taking out our payroll tax, you eliminate the possibility. You take away our right to choose. I want to put back the right to choose. What this guy wants to do with this 32-hour work week, it sounds like a personal vendetta against a billionaire that employs tens of thousands of people. And good old Mr. Bernie Sanders, why don't you just create a system that employs that many people? Man, that guy just, sorry, a little pissed off, but there's worse trouble than that already hitting us. So let's see what's already here and what we've just got to learn to bend over and accept right now. Not long ago, I had the blessing and opportunity to go behind the scenes at Southland Trailers up in Canada. One of the most phenomenally run organizations I've ever seen anywhere in my life. Southland Trailers has their systems dialed into the point where it is every square foot of interior space is allocated to a certain amount of production. And we are talking about some of the happiest people I have ever seen working in a factory. There were times when I was up touring Southland Trailers, they're building trailers. Southland Trailers is one of North America's largest trailer manufacturers. And when the guys are not building a trailer and they're waiting for the next part to come down, they're freaking dancing. They're dancing. I am not joking. It was such an amazing experience. But the engineering team at Southland Trailers traveled to Japan and learned all of these secret techniques, and they've implemented them, right? And they've got the 2 pizza rule. That means one guy is never responsible for more guys than what they can eat 2 pizzas. Every square foot of space is allocated for. And they've got it dialed in to the point where they understand how to implement robotics. Robotics are not taking jobs. Right, ding. AI is taking jobs. When you see a company that's implemented robotics into their system, it has not stolen any jobs. But AI is taking away jobs. Now let me break down this definition. A robot is a machine that can do the job of a human worker. But when a company can make the investment, because it's a big investment into a giant machine with components and arms and things like that, and they've got to build them special and move them in, what happens is that means that that company's productivity has increased enough to allocate for a robot. And what they say is it takes 8 guys to keep up with one robot. So they put the robot in place and 8 more guys' jobs follow suit. That's my understanding. That's the way they broke it down to me. But AI, on the other hand, is completely replacing people. Graphic artists, designers, copyright writer, people that write copyright, people that can write newsletters, things like that, because AI has the ability, you have the ability to tell AI what you want. And let's say you're a new business owner and you want a logo like I have here on my t-shirt. You don't need to hire independent contractors to create a logo for you. You can simply type it into AI and AI will start spitting out logo after logo after logo. And you can do it. You no longer have to pay a person to create a logo for you. You no longer have to pay these people that it used to be their job. That's how they made their living. He's now completely replaced. I've actually seen where guys use AI to generate clothing designs. And with phenomenal results. Absolutely unreal what AI is capable of doing, because AI right now in its infancy, and here's where AI gets scary. It was recently on the news where AI was asked to generate images of historical figures and it got it completely wrong. And the reason why AI got it completely wrong is not because of the concept and idea of AI, it's about the people that originally programmed AI and their perception of reality. You see, AI is only as good as the seeds that created AI. And AI is being generated at Silicon Valley. If AI is birthed in a place that has historically left-wing politics, then the actual core of AI is going to be left wing. And as AI generates and grows and expands, I'm worried, and I don't know if this is correct or not, is it going to self-correct? Let me say this. We guys, we don't need directions. And when we get lost, we want to fight it tooth and nail until we pull out a map book or we pull out a mapping thing and get back on track. Now, if we never pulled out a map book and we never took the time to try to get back on track, when you get lost, when you initially get lost, you kind of veer off a little bit and you can easily get back on path and get to your destination. But what if we never pulled out that map book and when we veered off, we just stayed veered off and we just kept going in the wrong direction? Now what could have been a 5 or a 10-minute course correction can now be 5 or 10 hours because we've screwed up and now we're completely in the wrong era. That's the problem with AI. If AI gets off on the wrong track and it's being course corrected by people that don't think the same way that we think, what is AI going to turn into? You guys tell me. So we've looked at 3 things that are business killers. 1 is the Proact and how that can hurt independent contractor status. The second one is the 32-hour work week. And the third one is a true job stealer, and that's AI. And the fact that AI can now remove independent designers, copyright artists, things like that. It's eliminating their jobs. They're not needed, unfortunately, because there's computer programs out there that are used by AI that you can go there and have some fun bopping around and create your own logo, create your own email newsletter, create copyright for your website. So many things that AI can do. I just firmly believe that that one we've got to just get ready for. But that's today's video. You guys tell me what you think of all I've seen and said. To me, some of the stuff I'm seeing right now is scary as anything I've ever seen. God bless. Go get them, you guys.